Thank you. What defines comedy? Well, you think it's comedic to watch a man run down the street? What if that man was on fire? Most people would not think comedy. However, this particular man thought it was funny, and his name is Richard Pryor. Some of you may not know who he was since he was from a different era. I'm a 70s baby and grew up in the 80s where my parents would listen to Richard Pryor on the record player. I was sent to my room because of his adult content, but a thin wall did not muffle the jokes or the laughter. During my teenage and young adult years, I watched numerous movies and listened to his stand-up shows, including the news reporting on him. According to contemporary theater, film, and television, Richard Franklin Lennox Thomas Pryor III was born on the 1st December 1940 and raised in the slums of Peoria, Illinois. His mother, a prostitute at a brothel run by his grandmother. His father, a retired boxer, and his mother's pimp. At the age of 10, Pryor was abandoned by his family and raised solely by his grandmother. In school, Pryor was often in trouble. The Scribner Encyclopedia of American Lives says that Richard was small in stature and the target of frequent bullying in school. He became the class clown when he discovered that he could avoid beatings by making the bullies laugh. He enlisted in the army in 1958 and went off to West Germany. Largely on dares from buddies during this time in the army, Pryor performed improvisational comedy routines. After he was discharged in 1960, he moved back to Peoria working in small comedy clubs, telling jokes during breaks. He quickly discovered that his true talent was comedy. The owner of a popular African American nightclub in Peoria gave Pryor his first professional opportunity. By the early 1960s, the comedian had performed in places like St. Louis and Pittsburgh. Doing well for himself in 1964, he moved to Los Angeles, where he supported himself in small parts in movies such as The Green Berets alongside John Wayne. But mostly he played to live audiences in Las Vegas showrooms. According to contemporary black biography, by the late 1960s, Pryor was already indulging in $100 worth of cocaine a day. But he didn't have a big hold on him just yet. He was managing. In his early days, there was a lot of Bill Cosby in his acts. And one day, Richard realized just wasn't him, that he needed to be himself. Now, this was great for Richard and his fans, but not so much for those who he worked with and had to deal with him. Pryor clashed with managers, lost jobs, and was blackballed from hotels. He was even in trouble with the law for shooting up his wife's car. Now, this is where we discuss the fall of a legend. Contemporary theater, film, and television says that Richard was married 7 times to 5 different women, twice to 2 of them, and then divorced again. He was using drugs more often and drank excessively. Suffered a heart attack in 1978, but his long history of substance abuse reached its peak in 1980 when, according to Rashawn King, a friend and assistant to Richard, in a Reels interview, said in a drug-induced psychosis while freebasing cocaine on June 9, 1980, Pryor poured 151 proof rum all over himself and set himself on fire. While ablaze, he ran down the street until being caught by the police. He was taken to the hospital and treated for 2nd and 3rd-degree burns over half of his body. Now, 1 year later, during one of his comedy acts, he held up a lit match and asked the audience if they knew what this was. You know what he said? He said it was him. The audience busted out laughing. That comedy show is one of the highest grossing shows. Also, you would think the burning incident would stop a person from freebasing cocaine. Well, it didn't, according to contemporary black biography. Now, in 1986, newsmakers reports that he was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. 1990, a second heart attack. Then on December 10th, 2005, just 9 days after his 65th birthday, Pryor suffered his 3rd heart attack in Los Angeles and died. His widow, Jennifer, was quoted as saying, "At the end, there was a smile on his face." You would think with all the drugs, you would think that it was drugs that did Richard in. It wasn't. It was the smoking, according to a forensic pathologist, Michael Hunter. Today we talk about the rise and fall of comedic legend, from laughs to being laughed at. When you start off in a career, you have no idea where it will take you. You might think it was just as simple as telling jokes, but the fame and pressure on your shoulders just might push you to setting yourself on fire. I know it's a little far-fetched, but now people's careers are built on drug use and rehab.